Wonder Woman 1984 is the much anticipated sequel to the 2017 Wonder Woman film directed by Patty Jenkins. I really loved the first 2/3 of Wonder Woman. It was genuinely emotional and exciting, but the ending was really standard DC schlock. But Patty Jenkins apparently also hated the ending of that film and was forced to end that movie like that by Warner Bros. After seeing the criticism that caused, Warner Bros. Actually gave Patty Jenkins more creative freedom with this film and even let her write the movie. So I was really anticipating Wonder Woman 1984 to be an actual improvement on the last one. But I was really wrong. Wonder Woman 1984 starts off by being kinda good, and then somewhere along the way, everything just goes wrong, and this movie just completely devolves from a kinda good movie to a so bad it's good masterpiece. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. It really helps out small channels like mine. Anyways, onto the video. So back in March, there was this little thing called a global pandemic. The people of the world were scared of illness and financial struggles. What were they to do? Well, a beacon of hope just over the horizon. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, was going to inspire the masses to persist through these trying times. A video of her, as well as the cast of Wonder Woman 1984 and several other celebrities, singing Imagine by John Lennon.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
It was received about as poorly as you could imagine.
This is not the time when everyone's Grammy's dying, you fucking idiot.
What? You're sad grandma died? Well, imagine no possessions, I sing from the inside of my $1 million mansion in the middle of the Hollywood Hills.
Imagine no possession.
So we start off with the opening scene. We get a flashback of Diane as a child, going through their version of the Olympics. There are a lot of people that call this the best scene in the movie. I disagree. When I first saw this movie, I really enjoyed this scene. It's got a fun tone, it's got great music, the CGI is okay. This scene by itself is fine, but when you think about it in the broad scope of the movie, it's entirely pointless. It's really just spectacle, and the spectacle isn't even that good. Diane tries to break the rules in order to get ahead, and her mom chastises her for it, implying that this is the theme of the movie. She's all like, Diane, you can't break the rules. You have to be truthful to win. Imagine no possessions. It's easy if you can. The big issue with this is that the movie kinda forgets about this theme almost entirely. I'll get to that later, but another issue is that this scene goes on for way too long. One of the biggest complaints about the movie is that it's too long at 2.5 hours. If the only important message to convey in this scene is that Diane's mom tells her not to break the rules and to be truthful, why does this scene need to be 10 minutes long? So after that pointless scene is over with, we get to what should have been the first scene of the movie. We get to see Wonder Woman save a bunch of people, and it's so much fun. It feels like one of the classic Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. A lot of people complain that it makes no sense that she knows where to be and who to save in this scene. I don't really care. I don't know. How does anyone in any of these superhero films know where to be? That's kind of a dumb complaint. I love seeing Wonder Woman fighting these criminals and inspiring the youth. It's campy, it's dumb, it's enjoyable. I love it. I love the way this guy screams. It's the perfect way to start the movie, and after this, I really thought I was about to watch a great movie. I was wrong, of course, but that's what I thought. Apparently, Patty Jenkins was told that she needed to remove one of these 2 scenes, and she somehow had the leverage to tell Warner Bros. No. So here, 2 first scenes. Why not? Now we get to the first red flag of the movie, Kristen Wiig. Kristen Wiig sucks, and so does this character. Kristen Wiig plays the character of Barbara, who is the most painful, obvious villain setup I have ever seen. She's basically this awkward character that nobody pays attention to, who eventually goes through a transformation to become the villain of the movie. Just a little advice to anyone who wants to make a superhero film: if the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did anything, do not do it. So then their boss comes over over and tells Barbara that the FBI needs her help to investigate this rock. There's some writing on this rock, and after Diane reads it, they realize that the rock can grant wishes. This dude uses it to get coffee. There are 2 rules that this scene establishes. 1, you need to be physically touching the rock in order to make a wish. 2, you can only make 1 wish. Those are the 2 rules. It's important. Remember those 2 rules. Okay, so my favorite So Bad It's Good movie of all time is 2017's Wish Upon. It's this movie where Joey King also gets an item with words in a foreign language that can grant wishes. Us Wish Upon fans have wondered for years if we would ever get a sequel to that masterpiece, and luckily Patty Jenkins gave it to us with Wonder Woman 1984.
I really wish I had a coffee.
The wishes in this movie are just plot magic, and it gets so stupid, it's really funny. So Diane and Barb are becoming friends, they get lunch, Diane saves Barb from this drunk dude who's harassing her, and then Barb uses the wishing rock and wishes to be strong and sexy like Diane.
To be like Diana. Strong, sexy.
Here's where my issue with this character increases. She is such an overused cliche. The whole villain who is just the hero but kinda different thing has been done 1,000 times. It was cool at first, but at this point it's just become so predictable. So here we get introduced to the big bad guy of the film, Max, played by Pedro Pascal.
I'd let Pedro Pascal rearrange my organs on a daily basis if he wanted to.
Pedro Pascal is a great actor. He was incredible in Game of Thrones. He was really good in Narcos. To give the guy credit, he's also really good in this movie. He's a wealthy himbo who's really charismatic. Unfortunately, in the following scene, he kind of devolves into yet another done-to-death cliche. So one of the investors calls him out for being a fraud and then pulls out, and then Max just becomes a dad who spends too much time at work to pay attention to his kid. I have no issue with using cliches. Pedro Pascal's character in Game of Thrones was a pretty cliche standard fantasy hero, but it's what they did with Prince Oberon that set him apart from other fantasy heroes. He's a memorable character, not necessarily because of who he is as a character, but what they did with him and what that says about the world of Westeros. In this movie, they did nothing new with him, and it just kind of leaves him feeling very unmemorable. This character's good, but it can be better.
If Pedro Pascal said he only wanted to fuck me with the Mandalorian helmet on, I'd say yes.
So the company has this party, and all the male extras are so comically horny for some reason and have no self-control at all. It's kinda hilarious. Max uses his himbo abilities to steal the wish rock from Barb. So here is the first scene of the movie that is so bafflingly stupid that it leaves a lot of people confused. So this guy follows Diane and she yells at him for following her, and then it turns out that this guy following her was her dead boyfriend Steve. If that makes no sense to you, which it probably does, let me explain. So when Diane held the wishing rock, she thought to herself that she wished Steve would come back to life. I wish she had said it out loud to make it clearer to the audience, but whatever. The way they revive Steve is so needlessly complicated that it's kind of hilarious. Instead of just bringing him back from the dead, Steve's soul inhabits some random dude's body who just so happened to look almost identical to Steve and live close enough to Diane that he could just physically find her. Who is this man? Does he have a job and family that he needs to take care of? Is he deathly allergic to soy? But most importantly, if there is one writing cliche I hate more than any other cliche, it is the fake out death. If a scene is presented to us as a death scene, please leave the character dead. It is the most infuriating viewing experience to watch all these superhero films where a scene wants to get that sad reaction from the audience by having a character that they like die, then for the character to somehow live after that anyway. When you set up stakes and then show that consequences aren't permanent, then the viewer sees that in the story there are no consequences. And when there are no consequences, what reason do we have to give a shit about any of the danger presented in the film? It's so manipulative and so annoying. My favorite moment from the first Wonder Woman film was when Steve sacrificed himself to save everyone. It gave me the message that Wonder Woman was not an average, stale superhero film. It was different and wouldn't cater to any of the awful tropes that Marvel uses in all of its films. it gave me the impression that the film was setting out to be its own thing. This film now retroactively ruins that moment because it shows that the sacrifice wasn't really a sacrifice at all. But you know what? I was still enjoying this film and wanted to see where it was going. So Steve and Diane go back to the apartment owned by the dude that Steve's in the body of. Steve and Diane are cute. I like seeing this stuff. I think Chris Pine can effortlessly have charisma with a trash can if he wanted to. This scene has a really dark implication. So this dude that Steve is in the body of has no control over his own body. Steve and Diane both clearly know this, and yet they have sex anyway. I think that Wonder Woman's a rapist in this movie. That's kinda weird.
Probably go and figure out how a stone brought my boyfriend back in someone else's body.
We need to talk about consent.
So now we get to see Max make his wish, so he wishes to literally become the stone itself.
I wish to be you, the dream stone itself.
So in these dumb wish movies, whenever someone makes a comically vaguely worded wish, it always comes back to bite them in the ass. I expected him to just turn into a rock, but instead the stone turns to dust and Max just absorbs it. Why didn't he just wish to gain the rock's powers? Now take a good movie like Wish Upon. They established that if you word your wishes in this comically vague way, then you'll get punished for it, and they follow through with it throughout the film. Nobody's magically above the rules of the wish box. Why can't Wonder Woman have consistent writing like that?
Pedro Pascal is my husband and he just doesn't know it yet.
Max then goes to his ex-investor and convinces him to wish for what Max wants to come true, and it's just comically ham-fisted and forced.
And don't you understand that I wished for better? That black gold would change the world for all of us. And I know you wish that too. Of course I wish that too.
Alright, so now we get to what I think is, unironically, the best scene in the movie. Diane shows Steve around 1984 Washington, D.C. This scene perfectly mirrors a scene from the last movie. Then Diane was a fish out of water, being shown around by Steve, and now Steve is the fish out of water, being shown around by Diane. It's a really cool role reversal.
That's just a trash can.
It's just a trash can. Yeah.
Oh my god, he does have charisma with a trash can! Here, Barb is telling a stand-up bit and everyone loves it. This scene has to be the most ass-backwards jump in logic in the whole film. These writers actually expect the audience to believe that they found a dozen people who think Kristen Wiig is funny. Alright, so Max is now in Egypt and Diane and Steve need to get to him. So they break into an airport and steal a whole ass plane. This is why I said earlier that the first scene should have just been removed. Initially, the theme is presented as Diane's mom telling her that she shouldn't break the rules and that she should be truthful and honorable. But here, she completely breaks the theme by stealing a plane. And what's even worse is that she's rewarded for it. Why even bother establishing a theme if you're just going to ignore it later? You're right, Mother. I shouldn't break the rules. I should be truthful and honorable. Let's go, Chris Pine! We gotta steal a motherfucking plane! So these guys have radar and they're trying to stop Diane and Steve from taking off. So Diane and Steve need to come up with a way around it. Their way around it is for Diane to say that her dad once turned something invisible, and now, out of nowhere, she just gains the ability to turn things invisible and pulls a Violet from The Incredibles and makes the whole plane invisible. Well, that's convenient. Also pointless because that's not even how radar works. $200 million and you couldn't even bother to Google this? Also, this kind of makes Diane seem dumb in the grand scheme of the DCEU. Look, not that the DCEU matters. So if Diane can turn a whole ass plane invisible in the year 1984, then why wouldn't she use this ability at all 30 years later when Steppenwolf tried to take over the world? Wouldn't invisibility have been useful then? So then Max speaks to this oil tycoon CEO guy in Egypt, and they have more forced wish shenanigans.
You wish for that. I wish for that deeply.
So this guy makes a wish, and then Max somehow gains control of this dude's whole company and security team. Why? That wasn't in the rules. Why is this movie just making shit up as it goes along? Good movies like Wish Upon set up rules for the wishing and then stay consistent. The wish box says it'll grant 7 wishes, but then with every wish, someone will die. And then the rest of the movie, they follow those rules. In Wonder Woman 1984, they established 2 rules and then just keep adding shit whenever the plot needs them to. Alright, so Diane and Steve are now in Egypt looking for Max, but they have no idea where in Egypt he is. Now let's see if any of you fine folks at home can guess how Diane and Steve find him. Is it A, the radio plays a convenient broadcast explaining where Max is? B, Diane uses the lasso of truth to magically find Max? C, Steve uses his himbo abilities? Or D, out of sheer luck they just so happen to be driving on the same road? It's D.
That was him. That was Max Lord.
It's the most insanely stupid coincidence you could have possibly written.
This is Canada. We only have one road.
But like I said earlier, I was genuinely enjoying myself for the first hour that I watched this movie for the first time. And there was one very specific moment that made me realize that this movie was gonna be a train wreck. And that moment is...
I got this.
What? Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go.
Oh my god, look at the way Wonder Woman runs! Every time she runs in this movie, it looks like this, and it looks so dumb. This was a $200 million movie, and they chose to make it look like this. From the second Diane runs in this scene, the whole movie just nosedives from a slightly above average movie to a so bad it's good masterpiece for the rest of the movie. Diane just pushes this truck in this comically stupid way. When Diane pushes a pipe down off this truck and Jesus flew into the air, I legitimately pissed myself laughing. Also, I believe that Diane can tank bullets and but why is Steve invincible in this scene? He violently crashes this car into a tank so hard that the windshield shatters and then just walks it off immediately. Also, I would like to remind everyone at home that Steve is still inside some random ass dude's body, meaning that Steve does all this dangerous shit, knowing that he could potentially get this dude killed. What an asshole. Then there are these kids in the road, and their plan to save these kids is somehow for Steve to launch a missile at them and have Diane Spider-Man on the missile towards them, throw it to the side right before it hits them, and then grab them off the road. I saw this scene on Twitter before I watched the movie, and I legitimately thought, wow, Nerd City made a really good meme. And then I watched the movie and realized this wasn't a meme, it's just 30 uncut seconds from this scene. This plan seems so much more likely to kill these kids than to save them. Also, I love that in order to communicate this insane plan to each other, Steve just yells Diane's name. And how is it that in this $200 million movie, they left in this shot of Wonder Woman rolling with obvious stunt dummies? So Diane and Steve discuss how because Diane wished for Steve to come back, her powers are weakening. Once again, why? The Rock had 2 rules, and neither of them are that you get weaker when you make a wish. This is meant to connect to the theme at the beginning of the movie, but actually it's just contradictory. Here, Diane completely followed both the rules written on The Rock and established by her mother at the beginning of the film, and yet she gets punished for it.
What is the theme here?
Then Steve and Diane magically teleport back to TC in order to take part in a scene that's usually found in cheap, awful horror movies. Here we have the main characters speak to a racial minority who tells them everything they need to know about the mysterious circumstances they've dealt with so far in the film. And about this scene, I would just like to say that Wish Upon did it better. Now Max gets a ton of employees and he's granting them a wish each. This scene continues the rule where everyone only gets 1 wish. Good job, movie. Congratulations! By granting all these wishes, Max somehow simultaneously gets more powerful and less powerful. Powers he has are really vague and confusing, and I don't really understand what they are at this point.
I need to find a way to touch a lot of people at the same time.
FBI!
The biggest issue with this scene is that Max was set up to want a successful business so that he can prove his worth to his son. Now he has a successful business, but he just continues trying to get more and more power. It's so unclear at this point what his actual goals are. I don't know what he's trying to achieve aside from some vague more power thing. It's confusing and makes the rest of the movie not really have a clear direction. He never gradually becomes obsessed with power. A flip just switches, and now that's his only motivation. I guess that Diane lied about not having a TV for some reason.
Oh, I don't have a TV. I don't have a TV.
And then Diane tries to tell Steve about this culturally significant armor that she honors by leaving it in a corner wrapped in cardboard. Then she uses the lasso of truth to show him a flashback, and I really just gotta say that I find the lasso of truth so annoying in this movie. Last movie it was just a whip that could force people to tell the truth. Here it's plot magic that can do whatever it wants whenever the script needs it to. Then Max meets with the president. I guess this is supposed to be Reagan, so Reagan wishes for more nukes, and Max somehow gets all of the president's
Why am I making this video? Dear God, I'm wasting my life.
So Diane and Steve go into the White House, and Steve is throwing this innocent dude's body in front of bullets and making his body fight Secret Service agents.
I hate guns.
A few moments later.
Barbara is now predictably on Max's side and fighting Wonder Woman, but why is Barbara on Max's side? Diane was always nice to Barb. She saved Barb from a drunk stalker who was harassing her, and Barb never expressed any kind of resentment towards Diane before this. If anything, she should be mad at Max because Max took advantage of her in order to get the stone. Is Pedro Pascal's dick really that good?
Pedro Pascal could literally marry me, divorce me, marry me again, and then cheat on me, and I'd still remarry him after that.
Also, why is Barb stronger than Wonder Woman? Diane is losing her power because her wish revived Steve, yes, but Barbara made her wish after Diane did, so wouldn't they be evenly matched at this point?
You've always had everything, while people like me have had nothing.
What do you mean you had nothing? You have a well-paying job where you're respected enough for the FBI to ask you to help them. What is this character? Why did I put more thinking into the writing of this movie than Patty Jenkins did? Now Steve tries to be a good boy and sacrifice himself for the greater good. This is why I said earlier that you should never bring back dead characters. This scene means nothing to the audience because we've already been shown that death doesn't mean anything in this story. Also, this is entirely a retread of Steve sacrificing himself for the greater good in the last movie. For all we know, Steve could just come back to life in the next movie after more bullshit plot magic. So then Diane renounces her wish. I'm sorry, but where was I when this movie established that you could renounce your wish all of a sudden?
Deja vu, I just been in this place before. Higher on the street, and I know it's my time to go. Going new.
Then Diane just gains the ability to fly. I swear the writers are just trying to fuck with me at this point. Sure was worth it to sacrifice her boyfriend who could fly planes so that she could fly. Also, this scene just looks laughably terrible. But at least we get to see Wonder Woman Spider-Man off a lightning bolt. That's pretty epic. So now Barb and Max are in this helicopter, and Barb, despite already being granted one wish, is granted a second wish. She is the only character in the whole movie that gets 2 wishes, even though the rules only allow you to get 1 wish, and the movie justifies this by having Max say that he can choose who gets multiple wishes.
But you only get 1 wish.
But I, my dear, grant the wishes. So I take what I want.
If that's the case, why didn't you just let that employee earlier cast another wish?
Don't you wish I had an audience with the president today?
Of course I do. And can I tell you how happy I am that you value my opinion, sir?
Wait a minute. Have I asked for your wish before?
Yesterday.
And if you could change the rules, f it. Why not just grant yourself an infinite amount of wishes and just be God? Did Patty Jenkins even read her own script? Then Barb explains that she wants to be stronger than anyone else and become the cheetah. And the way she says this is by wishing to be an apex predator.
I don't want to be like anyone anymore. I want to be number one, an apex predator.
Look, I hate to be that guy. Like, I really, really don't want to be a neckbeard here. But cheetahs are not apex predators. So now Max gets on the television screen and starts yelling at everyone to make a wish, and a bunch of people all over the world start making wishes, and the Cold War era countries all wish for nukes. I guess everyone understands him, even if they don't speak a word of English. Why would anyone make a wish out loud, alone in their living room, just because some crackhead on the TV told them to? Also, one of the two rules were that you needed to be touching Max in order to make a wish, and now everyone who just sees him on TV can just make a wish? Also, why is it that the only person whose wishes never come true was Max's son? I wouldn't have spent so much time freaking out about these rules being broken if the movie had just been consistent about the rules, or just not established any. Fuck it, who cares? Just do that. I have no idea how the people who made this film saw the reception of Cats and then thought that this was a good look for the cheetah. It genuinely baffles me how bad this fight looks. So after Patty Jenkins said that she was unhappy with the way the first Wonder Woman ended, I honestly was expecting the ending of this movie to be better, but it's just as bad. They did the same standard DC action schlock, but just smaller. It really makes me wonder what Patty Jenkins disliked about the ending of the last movie, and why she thought that this was somehow an improvement.
What's that?
From my culture, the armor of an ancient Amazon warrior.
12 seconds later.
You're broken. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Also, now Wonder Woman just gains the ability to be immune to electricity and beats the cheetah like that. She doesn't use any of the previous events in the film to learn or grow in any sort of way to help her win. She just magically becomes immune to electricity. It doesn't show any character arcs or anything. I don't feel like she learned anything in this whole movie. So now Diane goes to fight Max, and he has the ability to control wind for some reason. I don't even care. I'm not questioning the rules of this movie anymore. I want to go to bed.
Why are you doing this? Don't you have enough?
Why not more? What don't you understand about more?
So Diane gives this motivational speech to everyone and convinces them all to renounce their wishes. Apparently, this random lady that nobody knows can convince Cold War era Russia, Turkey, and America to just wish away all their nukes. Just like that. So did nobody wish for all the nukes in the world to disappear or something? Nobody wished for that? Okay. Also, it's implied that because of Diane's speech, everyone in the world renounced their wish.
Because you're not the only one who has suffered, who wants more, who wants them back. Do you see the truth?
Well, you know what, Diane? You're a so don't condescend me about wishing that my mom got cured of her cancer. And they show this montage of nukes blowing up midair and pollution retreating back into smokestacks with this just annoying, loud orchestral music blaring into our speakers. I hate to use the word cringe, but it's just so cringe. This music is obnoxious, but I do think that we can come up with something a little better.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us.
Okay, imagine all the people living for today means you don't plan for the future. It means you don't care about your kids. It means you don't care what happens tomorrow. It means you don't care about anybody else. You just care.
Living for today.
And anybody who believes the crap in this song, you should never have any sort of conversation with them. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your brain power.
Alistair comes out of the bushes and sees his dad. Max seemingly faces no consequences for almost ending the world. Diane looks at this dude as if she wants to go out with him, which is really, really creepy considering the circumstances. And we get this dumb fan service at the end. Who cares? I'm done with this movie. I'm going to bed. People are calling this the worst DCEU film, and I really disagree with that. This movie undeniably has positive qualities to it, unlike colossal misfires like Suicide Squad and Justice League.
I have an idea.
I can without a doubt say that I had a great time watching this film, regardless of if I enjoyed it for the reasons that were intended. Also, this film compelled me to watch it more than once, which is something I cannot say about any of the MCU films. So there's that. Would I recommend it as a so bad it's good movie? Maybe? It's like 2.5 hours long, so I don't know if that would really hold the attention of a room full of drunk people, but I would absolutely recommend that you show all of your drunk friends Wish Upon. It's a perfect 90-minute movie that's always entertaining and always hilarious. I didn't spoil the best parts of that movie in this video, so definitely get your friends and go watch it. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be making more videos just like this in the future. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. I really, really appreciate it. They take a lot of effort. Goodbye.
Give The Rock anything, but Diane did.
Also, Rich, do you not know Wonder Woman's actual name? Like, do you not know?
Diane, bro.
I swear to fuck, he's doing it on purpose. He's doing it on purpose. He knows her name is Diana. He knows exactly what her name is.
Don't tell me it's Diana.
It is. You're a piece of shit. Don't play this game with me. Don't pretend that.
No, for real. Is it Diana?
Yes. We're not doing this.
I recorded all my audio for that video and I called her Diane.
Are you serious? Oh, that's funny.
I'm 100% serious.
Oh my
God. No, yeah, her name's Diana, guy. No.
It's been Diana for 80 fucking years, man.
I called her Diane in the whole video.
Oh my god.
All right.